Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Salam Media with myself, Salam Makwidiri, on News and Views. And we're going to be having an interesting interview coming up right now. We'll be speaking to Hafiz Hussain Choonara from African Muslims Agency. And they'll be telling us about this year's Qurbani campaign that they're having. And I'm really, really liking the tagline that they have. I'm just looking at their banner. It says, "Beyond the Sacrifice." And I think that's really, interesting to chat about. He's joining us via StreamYard. Assalamu alaikum, Hussain. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, Brother Salero, and to all the listeners and viewers of Salam Media. Jazakallah for having us on here.
I mean, first and foremost, I'm just looking at the AMA's Qurbani banner, and there's a tagline, that beautiful tagline that just jumps at me. It says, "Beyond the Sacrifice." Can you tell us a bit about this year's campaign and what it's all about?
Absolutely. With African Muslims Agency, alhamdulillah, since inception, Qurbani has never been just a day of giving out free meat to communities. It is about empowerment, empowering the communities where Eid is taking place, where the slaughter will be taking place. And that's done on different levels, Salero. One is, for example, across Africa, we purchase livestock from locals in communities, in villages, in rural areas. And the reason we do that, in Africa, people rear livestock not for consumption, but for trade. So when you purchase their livestock, they're getting finance for that, obviously. But then they take that money and purchase more livestock. So now you're empowering a village in Africa. You're empowering a community. But then what we also do is education. And at all AMA masajid across Africa and different countries that we work in, we then teach the rights of Hajj and Udhiyah to local communities. So people get to be part and parcel and understand what Qurbani is about, not just a day of receiving free meat. And of course, then coming together on a day of Eid, it's a slaughter, it's a sacrifice, and it's sharing. But also it's a coming together of communities, of people in local villages in South Africa, across Africa, in Somalia, in Mozambique, in Malawi, Uganda, as well as in the Palestinian and Syrian refugee camps, in Afghanistan, where where the widows and orphans benefit, and in other countries around the world, alhamdulillah. But that's only through the mercy of Allah and generosity of donors. So again, Qurbani with Amma is never just giving out meat. It's an empowerment tool, it's an education tool, it's a coming together of families and communities, like you and I would do that on the day of Eid as well.
And you do speak of the different countries that you'll be making part of your Qurbani program this year. I mean, I'm seeing Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Africa also there, Syria also there, and these are usually places that we read a lot about on the news. Some of them are politically unstable. There are wars going on. Just how much effort goes into reaching those remote places where there are bullets flying around, the people are unsafe, but AMA is still able to find and locate the people that are in need and make them part of this Qurbani campaign?
It's only through the mercy of Allah, again, and the generosity of donors that, we have teams that are based in these countries, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, in Syria. But these are the areas, like you say, when you hear the name, you know immediately an image comes to mind of the situation on the ground or what's happening in those countries. These are people that are in need. So it is not a choice that we have of whether to go and decide to be of any assistance, but we have to do it. But let us also remind ourselves, Allah doesn't need you and me to change any situation, and neither are we doing a favor to the people that we are receiving. Allah can choose anybody. So these, I believe Allah gives us opportunities because we know what we're blessed with. We know what we have. We're the ones with a desire, with a burn, with a niyyah in our heart. So Allah gives us opportunities and shows to us what is the situation in different areas around the world. And now you have to, to grasp at Allah's mercy, Allah's forgiveness, serve another human being. That's why the best amongst us all are those that serve another human being. And there's why these opportunities are there. So we've identified these countries that are in urgent need, like Afghanistan, like Somalia. There's a massive drought in Mozambique and Malawi. There's a state of disaster. People are eating grass and ants. In South Africa, over the past week, whether it is in KZN or whether it is in the Eastern Cape, we've seen the floods and the devastation. There's 15,000 people displaced in Nelson Mandela Bay as we speak. Right
Really
now,
did.
African Agency's Winter Warmth campaign is in full swing in these communities, and of course, many other organizations as well, alhamdulillah. But these communities, right now in the winter season, will receive blankets, inshallah. And that's why we need the support. That's why we are asking. But they also need nourishment. It's cold. They also need the nourishment. So we're tying in the two of Qurbani and winter warmth around South Africa, mainly because of the winter season. But of course, Qurbani happening in other countries of the world as well, inshallah.
And if there's a place that most South Africans are passionate about outside of South Africa, it's obviously Palestine. Can you give us a bit more insight on the work that AMA does in Palestine and the coordination that will go into this year's Qurbani campaign?
Of course, so the Qurbani program, is for Palestinian refugees. It's for Syrian refugees. These are refugees that have been displaced from Palestine. They live, in refugee camps in Lebanon. They've taken refuge in Lebanon, so they live there. These are refugee children. These are orphan children that benefit. These are families in the different camps, whether it's Syrian or Palestinian across the borders. But also in Palestine, you asked me about our efforts. We're currently feeding in Gaza. Efforts are continuing. Yes, it's not easy, and it's not easy for everybody, because our teams, they face the same situations. They stay in the same shelters, in the same camps. They face the same challenges. They lost loved ones. We've also lost team members in Gaza. But whatever we can do, we must continue to do, inshallah, because yes, we can see the need, but I think Allah's testing us. Allah's testing them, but He's testing you and I more, and we need to respond in a positive manner. So when we question, we know we have done something, no matter how little or small it is. So yes, Qurbani taking place in the Syrian refugee camps in Syria, in Afghanistan, in Sri Lanka as well. Salelo. In Sri Lanka right now, in the outskirts of the city, poverty is close to 50%. People are struggling. Our teams have met some families there. So also taking place in Sri Lanka as well, inshallah.
And a lot has been said about donor fatigue. I've been reading about it a bit. Considering the state of South Africa's economy and just the worldwide, economy, things are expensive. People are, looking to stretch the little that they have. What would you say to people, individuals, that are starting to feel donor fatigue starting to set in, and also trying, to stretch the little that they have to cover their own households, but also try and give the little help to those around the world that are going through really difficult times?
Of course, and I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. In Allah's court, you never lose in giving for the pleasure of Allah. You never lose. We trust and we know that Allah will bless you manifold in many ways, from places you've never imagined. Now, if our Creator is saying from places you never imagined, no matter how great our imagination can be, can never conceptualize what our Creator is telling us. And yes, it might not be money. It might be a peace of mind, might be peace of heart, might be a removal of a challenge. You don't know what that is. Only Allah knows. So yes, the Ummah is struggling. People are in need, Muslim and non-Muslim, across South Africa and across the world. But whatever little we can do, whatever dua we can make, let us do that. You remember, Brother Salera, always, people say, to be a humanitarian, let's be honest, you don't have to go to Syria, Palestine, Afghanistan to be a humanitarian. Just smile at the person outside, ask him his name, leave him with his dignity of his name, maybe give him a slice of bread, maybe just remove something difficult, that's an obstacle in the path. That is serving the next human being. If you going to a simple thing, I always think about it when I go to mosque. How we leave our shoes. You know what I mean? For the comfort of the next person to come into the mosque. The simple thing, to serve another human being, to be a humanitarian, you do not have to study. You do not have to be in a humanitarian organization. You do not have to go to Palestine, Afghanistan, and Syria. No, serve another human being. the person next to you. What are their needs? If you can assist in some way, then do that. So yes, I understand what you're saying, a donor fatigue, but to serve another human being doesn't mean it's always giving lots of money. Yes, that is required because people need it right now, and that's the hour, the need of the hour in different parts of the world. But you can serve another human being anywhere, wherever you are, inshallah.
No, definitely. And just lastly, those that want to get involved in this campaign, how do they get hold of you? Contact details, and also just the breakdown of each of the countries, and just how much they can contribute, to whatever region they're most passionate about.
Absolutely. Details are available on our website, africamuslimsagency.co.za. Offices are open 7 days a week. We're talking of Africa, we're talking about Somalia facing a massive drought, we're talking about Mozambique and Malawi, Sri Lanka. I talked about Afghanistan, 2.5 million widows, close to 2 million orphans that are in urgent need. A country also affected by floods in the past weeks. South Africa right now, we know what's happening with a different changing weather affecting different communities, tying in that with the winter warmth program, inshallah. So whatever your niyyah is, pricing is available on our website. Social media is updated daily, inshallah. Please connect with us, send us your niyyah. We'll send you confirmation of the Qurbani once it's floated in the different countries, inshallah. Allah reward you, Allah accept from you. And I would encourage you, do one for yourself in your home with your kids, so that your kids get to feel and experience, Eid. But also think about how we can do even towards Qurbani in another part of the world, inshallah.
I think we're going to leave it there. Hafiz Hussain, Choonara, Regional Manager at Africa Muslims Agency, giving us insight on this year's Qurbani campaign. Thank you so much, and really, really appreciate you giving us your time and spreading the word.
Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hafiz Hussain, Choonara there. You can go out to the website, different social media platforms. Just search Africa Muslims Agency. Brilliant work that they do there. And I'm sure you'd want to be a part of it and be part of something really that's bigger and that's impactful. And you can contribute from anywhere in the world. I'm seeing different countries on this banner here. South Africa, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Syria, Africa here in the continent, and Rohingya, Yemen, Palestinians, obviously, at the core, of every South African's thoughts right now. And they also need your assistance. So go over to Africa Muslims Agency's different social medias and also website, and be part of their Beyond the Sacrifice Qurbani campaign this year. From me, Salilo, and the rest of the team, goodbye for now.